Story 1. We hosted a young immigrant saving up to bring his wife over till my daughter caught him, and my wife is 50-year-old wife in the kitchen. I've tried too hard to make this work, but I can't do it anymore. Unless she does something huge to show her committal to our marriage, I will start the divorce process. It all started 1.5 years ago. She had been a housewife for a decade. She wanted to pay off our house faster, so she got a job delivering pizzas. She was open about everything that happened there. It was a small pizzeria, so I met her coworkers. She had them over for dinner. Last year she talked me into letting one of them rent a room from us. She would make extra money. He would live in a better place. I knew him. It seemed like a win-win. I didn't think it would be a problem because my wife had shown herself to be trustworthy across our whole marriage, all 17 years of it. She's also nearing 50 and he's in his late 22nd. He also is an immigrant saving up to bring his wife over. After 5 months, my wife suddenly moved out of the bedroom. She was sleeping in our spare room. That itself isn't suspicious. We prefer sleeping in different temperatures and my work shifts have me sleeping at odd hours, so we've slept in different rooms before. After a few days, I came home for lunch. My wife sat me down and said we had to talk. She told me that during the morning, our daughter caught them kissing in the kitchen. I asked her if she had slept with him. She said yes. I told her I loved her very much and that there's something important in our marriage if we've been together for 17 years. She agreed to go to counseling with me. He moved out immediately and we started marriage counseling. She hated it and cried hysterically after each session. The counselor seemed off and didn't seem to understand what she was doing. I switched to a different counselor and he was great. But my wife refused to have more counseling. She hated the first one and refused to give someone else a try. So, I attended alone with the other 1.5 dozen times. This whole time, she refused to quit her job. I asked her, explaining that I'm not jealous or suspicious. I just fear continuing to work with him will prevent us from reconnecting and healing. She got angry and refused. She almost threw her phone at him, telling me to check her texting history if I don't trust her. She never quit. After a few months, we never seemed to move on or get back together. A cloud seemed to hang over us and I lived constantly with the uncertainty of our future. With my counselor's help, I kept proposing ideas to help us heal. One was to go on a vacation with just the two of us. She refused. By November, I was thinking I might have exhausted all my options to heal. Me and my counselor agreed we couldn't do more together. I think he was hinting I should divorce. My father suggested to wait until after Christmas so I wouldn't put a dark cloud over the holiday. While this was happening, I snooped through her dresser. I found a small stash of lingerie. It's not new, but she specifically moved it there. For the past few years, she hated wearing lingerie. I kept an eye on it, and it never moved. The exact position of each bra and panty was the same, so I'm confident she didn't even move it. I also snooped through her text history and didn't see anything suspicious. I kept an eye on it. It stayed motionless so long I almost stopped checking it. At the end of November, she left for some errands. I decided to check her dresser again and saw the lingerie was missing. Sometime after she returned, I checked the dresser and the lingerie was back. Around this time, I checked her text messages. Her entire history with him has been deleted. She didn't delete anyone else's. November to December, I thought a lot about divorce. I knew it was likely, but I wanted to make sure I didn't do the wrong thing. We have a daughter. We get along so well, and it will be hard to meet someone with her traits again. 17 years. Maybe I was just working up the courage to leave her. At New Year's, the other man went back to his home country. She drove him to the airport and kept his car here. A few days later, she told me she thinks he wasn't actually on vacation, but to stay. She told me suspicious things he said. But as she talked, the things became strong and more obvious. So obvious it looked like she knew he was staying but was faking, just figuring it out. I checked her phone again and she had redeleted her entire text history with him. Again, this week, she said his wife found out about the affair. My wife had tried communicating with him and his wife told her never to contact them again. I offered to email him to arrange disposal of his car, but she ignored me. Yesterday she told me she had tried multiple times to contact him, and his wife texted and emailed her angry words and emojis. She doesn't seem to get it that she should stop. That was the final push for me. Not only does she not respect me, but she also doesn't respect his wife either. She seems to have no intention to stop her relationship with him and has done some highly suspicious things. I'm done. Not only have I tried everything to try and fix our marriage, not only have I been trying so hard to be a good husband before the affair, but I'm also done feeling this way. I've felt shocked and fear. I frequently break out crying. I can never understand why she would cheat, keep cheating, hide things, and not try like hell to fix something she does value. I often break out shouting, "Why did you do it?" Or "Why can't you just love me?" I'm sick of feeling this way. At one point, I considered just staying in marriage without sex or love because there's so much good in our relationship and we still get along really well. But I've come to see that I'll never move on if I live with her. The misery is invisible but ever present. I have to divorce to move on. I can't keep living with this anxiety and uncertainty. It's selfish and wrong of her to put me in this position. I want out. At least I've accomplished one thing, knowing I've done everything I can to save this once wonderful marriage. I thought of divorce once she confessed, but I didn't want to regret it years later. Now, I don't think I will. Reader comment, Hi, I think you are making the right call. She knows she is hurting you. She knows she is doing something wrong. But she just doesn't care about you anymore. I am really sorry for you, but this is the only option left for you. Maybe a little warning would be in place. You need to be prepared when she is served. A lot of things can happen. One is she is totally fine with it and completely emotionless about it. Second is she could also start crying and begging you not to do it, saying she will quit and do anything to repair the marriage. Third is she will get very angry and calls you anything bad and hurtful things she can think of. You need to be prepared for this. Do not fall for the crying and begging. Stay on course. Remember, she did not care about your feelings while having the affair. Original poster, thank you for your advice. I don't know how she will react. The first 2 weeks after confessing, she was much like the first. She did feel sadness, but she was trying to be stoic. We discussed how we would divorce if it came to that. Now, I'm not sure how she'll act. I've seen all three from her. We'll see what happens. Reader comment, divorce her and get your child out of that awful situation. That is disgusting that your wife would let her child catch her cheating and then continue to do it. She's selfish and it's doubtful she'll change. Good luck to you, Opus. Please don't stay in a loveless marriage. Your child will learn from you and your soon-to-be ex-wife what a relationship should look like. Original poster, you're right. She's been awful and selfish. Our relationship no longer has love, and I don't think she'll change. Reader comment, brother, a book that really helped me is No More Mr. Nice Guy. Seriously, you need to read this. Read it with a yellow highlighter in hand. Then when you are finished you need to read it again. You got this, brother. Stay strong and when it is over you are going to have an amazing life. Original poster, thank you. I'll give it a read. Story 2. She told me her car broke down. Turns out that her therapist told her to lie to me. I have been with my partner for a year and a half. A few months into our relationship I was hit by a depressive episode. The world was very negative for a month or so and I saw everything in a bad light. I criticized my partner fairly often. In the light moments I apologized and admitted it was not okay behavior. A month after this, my partner went away for a few days abroad to see a friend. On the day she was supposed to come home, she texted saying a car had broken down and she had to stay a few more days. I thought nothing of it. Things improved around my criticism, and even though it was still happening sometimes, I felt we were working through it. Another month or so passed and I happened to see a notification on my partner's phone from someone. I don't remember what it said, but I remember getting a weird suspicious feeling. Noticed this person texting her relatively often and at one point I asked her about it. She told me it was just a friend and allowed me to look through the messages. To me it seemed very flirty, but she claimed it wasn't. They sent pictures of themselves. He called her beautiful a lot. He even told her he touched himself. This eventually came out when I confronted her again and she admitted it was flirting and it was because she didn't feel admired by me and the criticism before hurt a lot. This was the first time she expressed the lack of admiration, and I felt awful. I forgave her and did my best to express my admiration for her from this point onwards. She was grateful. We continued to have issues. Something didn't feel right, and I couldn't put a finger on it. We had lots of good times, but every now and then the feeling would creep back in. I'd ask her if she was hiding something, and she would always say no. I didn't completely believe her. This created disconnection between us and resentment built. This caused more issues as you can imagine. We always talked through the issues, and it felt like we addressed them maturely and both grew from them. But the resentment still always came back. Things have got better since then, and we both have expressed a lot of gratitude for how we have supported each other and promoted growth. But then, the itching feeling came back the other day. I brought it up and she said she hadn't hidden anything. Then a few minutes later, she told me she had been unfaithful. When she was away a year ago, she kissed 3 guys and gave another guy a BJ over the course of 4 fifth days. The car didn't break down, she wanted to stay. She said she had felt the guilt of this every single day and her therapist recommended not telling me if she was sure it wasn't going to happen again, because it could traumatize me. She said she did it because she was hurt by my criticism and didn't feel admiration for me and had a EFF at moment. I understand this. She was feeling bad about our relationship and sought people to make her feel good about herself, but agree it was a big mistake. She has expressed genuine remorse and clearly knows how awful it was. She feels like a monster. I trust that she will never do this again. Things feel like they were about to progress massively in our relationship, and that even though we started off in a pretty toxic way, we have both addressed the majority of our personal and joint issues. We both are very compatible, but also very different. We have opened each other's eyes to different perspectives, and I feel deeply connected to her, despite her mistakes. She has a lot of trauma from childhood, which definitely has had an impact on the way she has acted. She is actively addressing this and trying to grow from it. I feel pretty confident in our future and do feel like we will end up being very strong together due to the way in which we have dealt with these issues as a team. I'm hurt, but I am coping okay. We have talked about relationship anarchy a lot, and even though our relationship is monogamous currently, we both are open to other ideas, and I am able to address my jealous feelings. However, I have read so many posts that say, never get back with them, never forgive them. Am I naive, stupid to be continuing this relationship? Reader comment, only you are going to know if it's worth continuing or not. The logical thing to do would be to quit, but you already know that. You are here for someone to blow smoke up your arse and say everything is going to be okay if you continue and none of this is your fault, or something along those lines. Yes, relationships can bounce back and be healthy, but it's entirely on you as individuals and how well you work together as a team. You need to 100% rebuild yourselves at the same time as trying to rebuild your relationship. And you are doing all this why? Shard finances, kids, ease of life, dependency. I dunno. I would probably recommend therapy. Maybe you can work out what you want in that. Story 2. She needed to work through things in her life, deal with her thrill-seeking behavior. I saw a picture of X and AP and need to rant to the internet. Over the summer my partner and I went on an amazing trip. The next week I was away for work and she was camping with her friends. She mentioned a friend's friend from the other coast had joined them, and they all posted a picture together. I got COVID on my trip and isolated for the 10 days. She went out to a bar to celebrate her friend's birthday, and his friend was still in town. It was a Thursday. She had a big day at work the next day, and she never stays out late drinking. I call at like 11 p.m. to see how she's doing as we talk briefly every evening before bed. She didn't answer and texted me saying she was headed home soon. At 12:30 I checked in on her again, no answer. She texted me the next morning saying she was very hungover and was puking all night. That Sunday was the first time we saw each other. We had a picnic as it was my last day of quarantine. COVID hit me hard, and I was in a fog for at least a month. But something seemed off. Fast forward a week and a half, we are out at our friends having dinner. I overhear her talking about seeing a sex therapist, so naturally I ask her when we got home that night what that was about. She proceeds to tell me there are things I wish you were willing to do X, or X. I have been unfaithful to you. I met AP and he lit up a part of me I forgot with you. I kissed AP. This came out of nowhere in my mind. We never really fought. We had future plans together. I thought our relationship was still growing. She continues saying she feels so guilty about it and she told him she couldn't proceed and she had to tell me. I reply saying, just a kiss, and she insists. She says it was outside the bar, but as I pry, it was outside her friend's house when they walked him home, and then outside her house when AP umbered home with her. So, I said, prove it, show me your Ring doorbell footage. She reluctantly pulls up the footage and it's just her walking into her house. I asked where the kiss was, and she said she snuck him in the side door, brought him upstairs to sleep with him, but they only kissed, and she felt so guilty she got sick. Mind you, I'm exhausted from COVID, my mind is foggy. She insists it was only a kiss. I ask to see her message where she tells him she can't proceed, but she erased them. She resets her phone to see if they were backed up, but nothing. I tell her if it was something more and that this is it, to just leave and I will get my stuff. I told her I needed to know the whole truth right then. I could forgive her if I knew, but I'd never forgets. She insists she messed up and still wants to be with me. She sleeps on the couch that night. I couldn't leave bed the next day. She checked on me twice to assure me it was me she wanted. The AP is from the other coast and has a girlfriend of 7 years. For some reason I stay. I continuously asked if it was only a kiss and she continuously tells me that was it. She swears by it. I told her she had to show me she wanted it, come to my house as the thought of hers hurt. She was busy a few nights, but this dude lives on the west coast, and I was exhausted. Fast forward 2 weeks, her dad is in town, so I spend my first night at her house. Before we retire to her room, I ask multiple times to tell me the story of what happened that night. She finally tells me all of it. They slept together as many people immediately thought. I try and leave, but she insists I stay, and she tells me how much she wants me, holding me as I'm walking out the door. Somehow, I stay. Fast forward 2 weeks, we are supposed to go on a trip to my family's summer home. Her family was supposed to come the next week. She has to work and cannot make it. She also informed me AP was in town. Her friend told me. I asked how I could trust her, and she says she would come after work if I wanted. She didn't. On Sunday as I was driving home, I call to talk about our week's plans. She answers and is giddy. She says she's on a walk at our favorite spot and Shed called me back in a half hour. I knew she was with him. 2 hours later, she calls. I say you saw AP. Nuo. Are you sure? Yes. You saw him, I can tell. I saw him. I don't think we can continue this. She broke up with me while I was driving. She led me on for a month to make sure he was leaving his girlfriend and moving back to this city. I was devastated and we talked for 2 days after that. What she said only made me feel worse. What I did was wrong, but this wasn't going to work anyway. I shouldn't have cheated, but our relationship had issues with the foundation from the start, and there was no fixing that. Not even a real apology. She laid on everything I was doing that was wrong, and it made me realize she never vocalized any of this while we dated, only after. She said she needed to work through things in her life, deal with her thrill-seeking behavior, etc. She was leaving me for herself, not for AP, but if it worked out with AP then that was good too. This derailed my life for a good 2 months. I was supposed to be writing my PhD thesis, but I couldn't focus. Everything was hard. It has been easier but 4 months out from her leaving, and I saw a picture of her in AP today, and it ruined my night. I had my doubts about things midway through the relationship, but I had gotten past them. I can't believe someone who wanted a partner to tackle life with would sidestep that person so easily and just F them over. What happened to talking to your partner and breaking up if things can't be figured out? I recall a card on her fridge from a friend month earlier that said, I hope you find what you are looking for in life and in love, but I didn't think anything of it. I think what hurts so bad is how this all happened. That she told me she cheated to get the act off her chest, and then led me on to not be alone. She waited to make sure AP would leave his girlfriend too, before leaving our relationship. She assumed I would leave and that was easier than breaking up with me. I learned that our first date was while she was dating someone. She said she wanted to kiss me. I had no idea she was taken. I learned that she cheated once before. Her and a partner had signed a lease and she got scared, cheated and bailed. Hindsight is 20/20, not meeting some friends, awkwardly pointing out people Shed slept with in pictures, her being jealous of any girlfriend I introduced her to with her saying she definitely has a thing for you. She had lots of anxiety and sadness in life. Always worried people didn't like her. She is such a social person but doesn't have many people close to her, just lots of acquaintances. Her family includes her with all their friends, who I grew to love, but she lacked a good friend group herself. Lots of pictures of old friends that she wouldn't say what happened to. Just vague stories of them not seeing her real intent. I have tried to not hate her and wish bad, but it seems like she is unable to resist her complete self-interest. In any relationship, her family just remains by her side as a family should. It hurts to see her appear happy with this person. I've accidentally seen more pictures of them together than I think she ever posted of me, and I don't follow her so I can't see them on her accounts. Is this person really the one or is she just trying to appear happy? She moved on before I even processed what happened. I've been on dates and met nice women who I was into, but it wouldn't be fair for me to date yet, not to them. I feel close to being ready, but tonight messed me up again. I know she would have done this in the future if not now, after marriage, after kids. Meeting other women made me realize how she definitely was not the one for me. But I don't know why I hurt so much now, even when seeing her. She texted me a month after no contact because apparently her Wordle game was logged into my phone and I was filling it out with hateful words. She begins, I know you're still mad at me, but I need you to stop filling out my Wordle with hateful words. Like 1. How was I logged into your Wordle? 2. Change the password. What a petty thing to reach out for. I didn't reply. She has no idea how I felt, never even cared. Anyways, if you read these, thanks for the rant. Reader comment, sorry about all of this, but better now than after several years or more. Get an STD test and tell all of her friends and family what she did and why you are no longer together. Go and see and move on with your life. Original poster, I haven't talked to her in 4 months. I became friends with some of her brother-in-law's friends over the course of our relationship and the one who shared the photo had asked me to get dinner last week. Feels wrong to tell them what happened. Like it feels weak to even care. Reader comment, Opus what your cheating ex-GF did was monkey branch you. She kept you around just until she found someone she thought was better for her in whatever way she is missing emotional security on. This behavior stems from abandonment and abuse issues and is absolutely in no way your fault. If it makes you feel any better, she will likely do to the new guy the same thing she did to you as she will never feel emotionally safe with anyone. Not without a lot of therapy anyway. A word of caution. Your cheating ex-girlfriend will likely try to worm her way back into your life when her new love doesn't seem to be working out. My advice to you is to block all of your ex-girlfriend's social media now and ignore her like the toxic and selfish piece of she is. Next, start working on yourself emotionally and physically. Stay away from drugs and alcohol. Go to the gym and start an exercise routine. Pick up some old hobbies or try out some new ones. Hang out with your family and non-mutual friends. The more you do, the less time you'll have to fixate on and obsess over someone you used to respect.